back on the Amul's network, biogas and solar. Go to Dakshin Kannada, that's the whole belt, you talk pico hydro, solar and small wind. You go to Upper Gulbarga, you'll see solar and small wind. You go to Orissa, it's solar and small wind. If you go to Madhya Pradesh, you should go to pico hydro and biogas. This country, what we need is a decentralized approach of sustainable energy, decentralized approach of businesses, not scale up in the way traditionally that you all learn in school, but in terms of how do we replicate models. Replicate also comes down to the word scale up. How do you replicate and get the same numbers? How do you decentralize the thought process, the business models? And that's where sustainable energy, today we can actually provide, everybody says that solar is expensive, right? I'll just give you a typical example. The best financial lesson I have learned is from a street vendor who said 15 rupees, she said 300 rupees a month is expensive, but 10 rupees a day is fine, right? The question is not the ability for her to pay on a monthly basis, but how can you collect? It's not the technology. Today, you know, an average street vendor in Bangalore spends 15 rupees a month. That's 450 rupees a month on kerosene. You and me do not pay 450 rupees a month for a lighting. Forget kerosene for lighting. Solar works out to be 7 rupees at 14% rate of interest. As you go deeper into the economic strata of our society, the cost of electricity or energy utilization actually goes more. Go to Sonalhadi, Mysore. The average monthly earnings of the person is 1600 rupees. Their average monthly expenditure on energy is 200 rupees. 150 rupees on kerosene and candles, and 45 to 50 rupees on mobile charging because the landlord. 200 rupees out of the 1600 rupees goes into energy cost. If they were actually got a 8000 rupee solar system, which you and me with 8,000 for 2 lights, it's too expensive. How can a person who earns 1600 rupees, you're all from the MBA school, what a financial product of 5 years at 14% rate of interest, he or she actually can buy an 8,000 rupee product. That 200 rupees where they were actually spending for kerosene and candles, they can actually pay 155 or 160 rupees as EMI. The barrier is the bank system or the banking system are not able to take that risk. And that's what, when we actually started in the early 90s, and Mr. Urpai is here, one of the well-known bankers, how do you break the barriers? How do you break the barriers among financial institutions to make them take the extra risk of how to provide that electricity, right? And that sensitivity has to come between you and me, that how do we, okay, let's not look at the poor as poor, but how do you look at the ecosystem? And other classic fight today I'm having, sir, is with CRISIL. CRISIL does not know how to rate social companies. CRISIL can only rate companies that have one, that is financial outputs. So today I have an email in my email box saying that not sure whether we can rate you properly because Harish Hande's net worth is very less. Yes, I take very low salaries, everything else. My net worth in financial terms is very less. Today's CRISIL's question, is that what you ask? Okay, and the second question was, it was classic by CRISIL, was, I said, boss, we started in 94. Lehman Brothers started in 94. We are here, Lehman Brothers are not here. Right? Standard and Poor, which is the father of CRISIL, rated 1A. Many of the rating companies, they rated Shell in 92 as 1. Shell Solar has collapsed 3 years ago. The barriers for us to build up a social enterprises today, I'm just so close to going to the media on CRISIL. Just so close to going to the media, because the questions today they have for me of rating our company is incredibly, what you call it as funny in for us. I mean, it's going to be a juicy story for, actually we can sell and make money and then get better rated by CRISIL, I guess. But the issue is coming back to sustainable energy is, there's so much of potential. There's so much of potential. Let's not look at cost. Let's not look at cost saying that solar energy is expensive or picohydro is expensive. Look at what the ecosystem is. A lot of areas, for example, everybody is today talking of investing in clean tech. But not people don't realize that they are trying to invest in a company like Google without realizing that the internet does not exist. The question is not the question of sustainable energy being expensive. How do you create appropriate financial products? Because not only did we provide solar to the poor in Sonalhadi in Mysore by giving them financing, but we actually made them financially bankable. So once their solar loan is over, they actually can go and take a loan for something else. They have become financially inclusive in the system. You can't get a better way. See, till now, I have not talked about the concept of climate change or environment. Where else can we actually look at this country where 47% have no electricity, where more than 40% of Indians actually live within 40 to 50 rupees a day and $1 a day, or what classic terms, that we can actually connect alleviating poverty and sustainable energy without even talking of climate change. Today, if the politicians actually took a hard stand, went for the climate change negotiations and saying that half of our country are going to be supplied by sustainable energy, that is our rule. You tell me, you Americans, you Europeans, come and tell me what are you going to do. Today what we are telling is, oh wait, the rich in India are hiding behind the poor and saying that, oh, the poor need lighting, that's why we need coal, so don't tell us what to do. Rather, and when they build coal-fired plants, it actually does not go to the poor. The rich in India hide behind the poor. The rich in India also live on the subsidies of the poor. We don't pay our drivers, our maid servants. They all subsidize us because we don't then pay them properly. But that's how, in India, we are living on the patience of the poor. We can actually turn it around to our advantage and see how can we look at connecting poverty alleviation, sustainable energy, while creating sustainable social enterprises. And you're creating a very fantastic foundation. And who is responsible? You and me. I'll end with one more statement I'll tell you. Went to Gujarat 5 years ago. You know, classically the collection of wood, when 60% of Indians wood, is done by kids between 5 and 11, and especially girls. Because she's supposed to get married, who cares? Right? That's the attitude. I asked her, what time did you go? She said, I went at 8 o'clock, came back at 12 o'clock. The mother said, I used to go at 8 o'clock and come back at 10 o'clock. I said, is your mother alive? She said, yes. I used to go at 8 o'clock and come back at 9 o'clock. The forest has moved 4 times in 3 generations. Instead of going to school, she's going to go and collect wood. Because today you cannot go and tell the poor, don't use kerosene, don't use wood, because it's bad for the climate. You and me have not provided solutions today to the poor. We have not used our intellectual brains to come up with solutions. You and me are at fault for not creating those solutions for the poor. Mind you, if this country goes into different type of chaos, you and me are equally responsible. Today, what's the danger is, because of the collection of the wood, in another 15 years, you're going to have at least 10 million unread mothers. Because today, they are collecting wood for their houses. They're not going to school. We all know the mother is the center of education. The mother is whom we actually learn most of our things from. You're going to have 10 million unread mothers. You and me are going to be equally responsible for that, for having that unsustainable society. So I say, don't take your degree, so learn what you can, read the most boring stuff, because a lot of other people don't do. Look at the sensitivity of this country. I mean, I would say that the people in CRISIL have absolutely no sensitivity what the other part of the country is. They go from gated communities to gated offices and actually only look at Excel sheet planning. Lot of the poor in Sonalhadi, which I said, 1,600 rupees buying 200 rupees, they did not actually buy because it was an Excel sheet economics. They bought it because it made sense for a better life. They made a much better sustainable choice for the poor. Sustainable energy and social enterprise have such a deep connection for creating that fundamental foundation for this country. And last, you and me are equally responsible. I'm actually presently today extremely disappointed by the youth. The people who come to our offices say that, boss, I don't want to go into if I go into the rural areas, where can I stay? Where is there a hotel? Oh, what type? Okay. Oh, bus. What night bus? I don't want to take the night bus and go into the rural areas. Oh, is there mosquitoes, malarias? I'll tell you an example. We have a lab which is in Ujjire, which is 3 hours from here. We had 300 applications for internships 2 years ago. 5 Indians. 295 foreigners. MIT, Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, Sloan School of Management. All applied for it. And Indians who came and said, boss, मैं बस में नहीं जाऊंगा, गाड़ी है, वहाँ कैसा रहने, how shall I stay there? These are the excuses that we all come up with. मेरे से नहीं होगा, या government करना चाहिए. We know enough excuses. The youth has to stop making excuses. The best form of protest today is to create solutions for this country. It's very easy to protest because that's the easiest thing to do. The easiest thing to do for you guys is to actually graduate and actually take a cushy job in McKinsey's or anywhere else. That's the easiest thing. Is that what you were educated for? Right? That's not what you are educated for. Were you educated to take the easiest route out? So that's where I throw my challenge to all of you, because the country and the poor in this world, the 4 billion people, actually the hopes are on you guys. Thank you very much.
On a serious note, sir, our motto, the way we look at our institute's motto, is nurturing sustainable wealth creators. Yes, this is a question which we have been asking as well. I mean, we don't want to produce students who go out and work for the IT companies. I mean, it just doesn't gel with many of us here. But the reality is that not only this business school, most of the top business schools do face this problem, and the cushy job, the plush jobs. Yes, you certainly have made us at least think again on these aspects, no doubt, and I'm sure the audience has immensely been pleased and gained a lot from your speech. I'm sure some of them will have questions. If you permit me, I'll throw the house open. Questions, please.
That there are 4 billion poor people in the world, and the solutions that are devised in India could actually, set an example for those other places in Latin America and Africa. But so you also said that there are differences between different parts of India, and certain solutions which you could say apply in Gujarat, you can't apply in Orissa, and so on and so forth. So why do you think that solutions that are devised in India would also be applicable to like different parts of the globe?
See, there are not the whole part of the solutions. And suppose you have an equation A plus B plus C plus D, there are a lot of places in India where you actually come up, at least create a solution with A plus B plus C D, and then if I go from, for example, Orissa to Chad, for example, I can actually have A plus B plus C, and the D I need to actually do according to the local variables. So we can actually, we can cut down the time for a lot of the entrepreneurs from Chad or anywhere else to in fact learn the first process. Even today, if we as SELCO, our model is very much applicable to the state of Karnataka, and we have, for example, 40-30-30, that 40% of the processes are absolutely replicable anywhere in the country. The 30% are according to the geographical conditions, and 30% is according to the local site specifications and the management. So the 40 to 30 you can actually take 70%, and 30 you need to vary according to that. Now for the world, we'll have many more models. At least that we would have done 50 to 55% of the work in other parts of the world here, sitting in India, and the rest needs to depend on the local conditions. But at least that 50 to 60% can be solved here.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Akash Goen. I'm a student of PGP1 at TAPMI. What I want to ask is, point number one, according to you, what are the problems, apart from the finances involved, in the solar energy, as far as the Indian context is concerned? I mean, what do you think are the negatives involved in propagating solar energy in India?
I mean, there are really no negatives, but I would say is our ability to spend time in the rural areas are lacking. We actually want immediate results. Suppose I go into Orissa, we would actually require people to spend at least 1 year, and see what the needs are, and then design products. But today what happens is many a time we do not have the patience, and we come up with products that have been successful in UP and try to push it into Orissa, and suddenly there's a failure. My question is, the barrier is, it's not a barrier, I would say. It's something that we need to have patience in creating those needs and the appropriate business models. We have not spent those time. Any amount of Google search is not going to help you that, and I think we need to spend time. And the barrier is, how many of us today have the patience to say that, okay, boss, this is a solution that I know because I spent time there, not because I read it somewhere else. And the barrier for me is how many of the youngsters are willing to dirty their hands in the rural areas of the country and come up with appropriate solution. That is where the challenge lies in.
So I wasn't really talking about rural India in particular, about India as such, the herbs and the
Same, we have not,
semi-urban.
see the thing is solar technology is there. The solar technology is there, and today what happens is we are not, the barrier for solar energy is we are not bifurcating the markets in a sense that there are, rural is unelectrified, electrified, semi-urban electrified, unelectrified, urban electrified, unelectrified, industry, households, small scale industries. All of these actually require different type of solar energy models and require different types of solar energy policies and different types of financial models. We have not actually brought them under a book of a uniform policy, and that's where the teething problems of this country. It's not technology, it's not business model, it's not, it's a combination of all this is what. I mean, we have tried to solve it in a very small phase, Karnataka, but that solution needs to be replicated in India. The barrier is not from a technology point of view.
Thank you very much, sir. One last question, which is, I believe, in the interest of the students. Would you be interested in taking summer interns from TAPMI?
Absolutely, as long as you are ready for a ragging, but
I believe, yeah.
but no signing, don't come and tell me to sign your document if you have not come 100% of the time.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.
Are you from the MIP committee?
Hello, sir. My name is Amal Nicholas. I'm from TAPMI. What I want to know is the government is starting the Jawaharlal Nehru National Solar Mission, which is well on its way. So do you see any positive changes that could bring about? And what can we as the youth do to use that as a good platform to begin?
I hope it ends soon. I mean, no. But the Nehru, classically what happens is Delhi is an insulated a country in its own. It thinks it knows what the country needs. And the solar mission of Jawaharlal Nehru was decided in Delhi thinking what India needs. And I think there are lots of teething problems, and that's what Mr. Udupa, myself and all are fighting against to do that. But that will happen, that's teething, and let's go for a year. But I think one of the most important things they have done is inculcating the financial institutions as stakeholders. And what we need from the youth is, again, I go back to your previous colleagues, listen, how do different youth just don't come up with same business models, but come up with different business models. So you start creating an industry that actually pushes the government to create policy. Today there are very few players who can actually fight that. And so people think that, okay, there's no, I think the youth should come up with different business models, different ways of looking at energy. That in fact gives a different idea to the policymakers, and how do you create a long-term sustained policy. And that's where I think the Nehru mission would lead to finally.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ramanuj. I am a PGP2 student of TAPMI. My question is that you told that bank financing is a very difficult hindrance in most of your projects. So I want to ask that does SELCO has come up with any partnership with any NBFCs or microfinance industry wherein this problem is addressed?
No, I would like to correct that. In a sense, there was an earlier barrier, and Mr. Udupa can answer. We have partners with 9 financial institutions in the state of Karnataka. We don't believe that microfinance is a solution for solar, because the expensiveness of a microfinance product actually makes the solar product look more expensive. And solar is an asset. And microfinance, if you see that, it's not good for asset financing, it's short term. Today, it's not, many of the bankers in the 9 banks have actually, starting from Malaprabha Gramin Bank in 1995-96, there are 9 other banks who finance solar systems. The barrier is not really financing in that way. The barrier is a combination of some of the managers not able to take the risk, and some of the industry players actually not giving proper service that has actually led to bad defaults, which the blame goes not on the supplier, but on the banker. So the industry also needs to mature, and how do you actually take the banking system in confidence is where we are actually going through. But Karnataka is in fact a model is one of the case studies in the World Bank, that how the financial institutions in Karnataka have created. But I'm not a big fan of microfinance, because microfinance cannot finance asset. And that's why when we had a discussion with Vikram of SKS, it's not possible. They are a glorified working capital lenders, microfinance. They are not asset creators. I think more and more financial institutions in other parts of the country, if they can replicate what the Gramina banks, the Malaprabha Gramin Bank or the Netravati Gramin Bank have done, needs to be replicated. But it's only happened in one state, needs to be replicated.
Thank you, sir.
And you said you felt the need to give it back to the society. In last 17 years, I am sure you would have faced a lot of situations, a lot of low in your life, or you would have seen your friends moving ahead. What was that one thing which kept you moving, or how do you keep yourself motivated to do this?
I mean, I felt low that they were not on this side. See, thing is that you have to realize that frustration is the best part of motivation. If you're not frustrated, you cannot be motivated. Because it's just like you're sitting for an entrance exam or something, you're not able to solve a problem and you get up 2 o'clock in the morning because you didn't solve a problem. Because the problems that come to my table on a daily basis is something no amount of Google search can actually help you solve that problem, right? And these are challenges which is something that many of my friends do not have that opportunity. And it's very difficult to explain in words, but this is, once you get into this field, it is very addictive. It's extremely addictive. And that's why when I go back to Bangalore, the mall culture seems so alien. It's so alien. I mean, it's just wacky and does not make sense for me. And even have a lot of arguments with my friends who earn money. Yes, but end of the day, I would be in the sense that I would be very happy if your only mission was to actually give me the money afterwards, so that